I think over the last year, one of the things the channel has become most well known for are my ranking videos, where I take something like every game a publisher has put out on a particular platform to every character in a particular fighting game, and I rank them in a tier maker list from S rank, which is the superlative best, top of the line, cream of the crop, the cream of the crop! Ooh yeah, dig it! All the way down to an F, which games or characters just don't work for me. What's going on, everyone? I'm Jay, the channel is Square Pegs, and it is a new month, which means it is time for a new ranking video. And today, we are taking it back to the 8-bit generation. We are looking at every game that Sunsoft released on the NES. Sky Kid is a game I've wanted to like for a long time because I know a ton of people really love this game. And I look at it, and on the surface, I go, yeah, man, this game should work. Simplified air combat, fun, cute graphics, really straightforward, basic gameplay. But every time I play it, I don't know what happens. Either my coordination shuts off or my brain turns off. I am just awful at this game, and I don't have fun when I play it. I am not saying this is a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. I actually think it's quite well made. It just doesn't work for me. Now, for me, I have to rank it low because I look at it and I see what good design is there and what promise the game has. I'm just terrible at it, and I don't have fun playing it. So for me, unfortunately, Sky Kid has to get a D. Okay, Lemmings is really interesting to me because I am a big fan of this game from its PC days. I used to play this on the Amiga all the time, and I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. This was kind of my first exposure to puzzle platforming, for lack of a better term, and this opened a ton of doors for me to love games further down the road. Unfortunately, this isn't a perfect translation on the NES. There are some odd control mechanics at play here, like you actually have to hold down the B button to be able to move around and choose the different lemming jobs that you can assign, which is a little weird, and especially when you don't have an instruction manual, it does make it entirely difficult to figure out what the hell you need to do, but the core gameplay is here. You assign jobs, the lemmings perform them, and it is up to you to get the requisite number of lemmings to the exit. The music is great, using a ton of chiptune classical instrumental music, and it plays really well. It's not a perfect one-to-one, but it is really fun. Lemmings, for me, gets a B. Alright, straight up, Batman is one of my favorite NES games, and I think anyone who has ever played it knows how great of a game this is. Based on the 1988 Tim Burton film of the same name, you control Batman and you're going through the streets of Gotham, taking out thugs and robots and flying guys. It's fantastic. There are so many wonderful gameplay mechanics at play here. The wall jumping, the different combat mechanics you have based on the different gadgets you're able to have for the Batman, the fantastic graphics, the wonderful music, everything just works for this game. I can't really think of any flaws with it. I mean, you could say that it is a little weird that Batman's rocking some purple and fuchsia. You could say it's a little bit of a small sprite, but at the end of the day, this game just works. It is one of the few perfect experiences I can think of on the NES that aren't clouded by nostalgia glasses. This game hits every conceivable mark. It gets an S. Batman Return of the Joker is the sequel to the previous Batman game that we literally just talked about, and it improves in a lot of ways. The sprite work is massive. Batman looks fantastic, inspired by Denny O'Neil artwork from the 1970s Batman comic run, and the game just kind of looks and sounds great. It kind of falls apart for me, though, with the gameplay. Like, I don't enjoy the gameplay of this one. I don't like that it's a run-and-gun shooter, which is just bizarre for me when it comes to Batman, especially when you look at something like what the Sega Genesis did with the Adventures of Batman and Robin, that perfected run-and-gun for the character. This one is just kind of a weak effort. Like, Batman wears a gauntlet that shoots things and blows up criminals, and that doesn't really work for me as far as the gameplay. I don't know. I like this game a lot, but it does not live up to the lofty expectations set by the original Batman game released on the NES. So for me, while Batman the original one gets an S, this one's knocked down a few pegs. This one, to me, gets a B. Above average, but not quite to the lofty expectations of the previous game. Okay, this is one of my favorite games, and actually, this and the original Batman were why I wanted to do this ranking in the first place, just so I could kind of gush about two of my favorite games from childhood. And this is Blaster Master, one of my absolute favorite gaming experiences as a child. I got this on one of the most epic Christmases ever when my mom found a metric ton of NES games on clearance and like bought all of them for me. I think I got 20 NES games that year. I don't think she spent over $100 on it just because they were so discounted. Blaster Master was one of them. This game combines some really interesting gameplay aesthetics. You have side-to-side platforming in both vehicle and on foot, as well as a 3/4 isometric view where you're on foot and kind of wandering around a level as your character, Jason. Now, the gameplay is all about finding your frog and riding around in Sophia the tank, and you get upgrades for your character and your tank, and it's a great game. It is one of my favorites on the NES, and if you have never played it, you not only owe it to yourself to play this one, you should actually track down the Blaster Master Zero series as well, which is available on the Switch. All three of them are fantastic. Blaster Master, one of my favorite experiences on the NES, gets an S. I really remember enjoying Fester's Quest when I was younger, and I think that might be because I was so enamored with the Addams Family and Addams Family values when they released that I just really wanted to love this game. And there's definitely hints of things where I look at, 11 and 12-year-old Jay playing on his NES and playing Fester's Quest. I can see why this was something that I would have loved when I was younger, but playing it today, man, it just does not hold up quite to the remembrance I have of it. Gameplay is pretty straightforward. You play as Uncle Fester, you're wandering around town, you have a gun, you're able to shoot the different aliens that are appearing in town. There's like these weird little raspberry things that you can shoot that are on the streets. Don't walk on them, they'll hurt you. And mutant frogs that attack. The game's good, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a very middle-of-the-road experience. It has a fantastic rendition of the Addams Family theme song on both the start screen and the game over screen, which is awesome, but overall, it's kind of middling. I give Fester's Quest a C. Alright, Freedom Force. I can't rank it. I don't have a CRT. And yeah, so this is a light gun game, and I have no idea how this plays because I pressed start, and then I got to the character select screen, and I have to shoot someone in the head to select them, and I don't have a CRT to do so. So from a character select screen perspective, this gets a solid A, but I can't rank gameplay. So we're putting a big ol' X on this one. I have no idea how Freedom Force is. All right, about halfway through the countdown now. Let's see how we are doing. Gremlins 2, the new batch, is kind of what I wish Fester's Quest had been. This is a really clever game. Like, it's a fun isometric platformer, and it controls surprisingly well. Like, there are some sneaky jumps and some tricky stuff you have to perform as you go through the levels, but from a gameplay perspective, this game's pretty solid. You play as Gizmo, you're fighting the enemies that are in the levels, and you're going to wander through to find the different secrets and make your way to the exit. It's a classic exploration platformer that is a little bit Zombies Ate My Neighbors as I'm sitting here thinking about it and talking through this review. It's a solid game. I really enjoy it. The graphics are really well done. The gameplay is really solid. It's neat to be able to go to the old man's mystical shop from the first Gremlins movie and buy different upgrades for Gizmo. And look, straight up, this game is good. I really, really love the look of this game and the feel of it. Like, this is excellent. It has nothing to do with Gremlins 2 at all, but the gameplay is really good. This one gets an A. Journey to Silius is a really interesting game. This is one I actually played first on the Switch Online service. I'd never played this on the NES. And looking at it, I can see that there's a lot of really ambitious gameplay design going on here that doesn't necessarily stick the landing on anything. The designs in the game are good, but they're fairly generic. The gameplay is good, but it doesn't quite live up to what you would hope it would be because things are a little stilted. I don't know. It's a fun game with some really interesting elements to it. Like, I like the different weapon aspects that you're able to get. The boss fights are really cool. The levels are well made. It's just kind of unmemorable at the end of the day. Like, there's nothing exceptional or special about Journey to Silius. It's just a game that exists. And I think that's the nicest thing I can say about it, because it's nothing that I look at and I go, God, I can't wait to play this again. It's a game that I go, well, okay, that happened. Journey to Silius is good. It isn't great. It gets a B. Ooh, okay, Platoon. Alright, so, nicest things I can say about Platoon. The character sprites are really well done. I like the jungle design. I think that's pretty neat. And that's about where my praise ends. I don't think this is a very good game at all. The gameplay is really stilted. The animations, when you transition from screen to screen, aren't really great. It uses up as a jump, which I absolutely hate in any game that does it, unless it's a fighting game. And I don't know, it's just, this one isn't fun to me. It's not an F, because, I mean, what it does competently, and it works. I just don't think it's fun at all. Like, it's not the type of game that I would ever play more than this one time I played it right here. I am giving Platoon a D. Okay, let's tell some hard truths about Spy Hunter real quick. It's a game that I think everyone loves, but no one really knows why. Okay, so we all know we love the Peter Gunn theme. We think that's great. We like the idea of what Spy Hunter is, where you're in a bitchin' car and you're going down and shooting other spies. But from a gameplay perspective, what do I do? There are weird things counting up and counting down at the same time on the screen. There are cars that I can shoot and blow up that will take away on my score, but then there are ones that I can't blow up, and they just come after me with their weird spike tires. I don't know what to do in Spy Hunter. I've never known what to do in Spy Hunter. And for me, that's kind of where my disconnect comes in. I love it. I want to play it when I play it. But after about 3 minutes, I'm like, I don't know what to do and I don't want to play it anymore. That's a problem. For me, Spy Hunter, and this is just for me, if you know what to do in Spy Hunter, please let me know in the comments down below. For me, Spy Hunter gets a C. Super Spy Hunter for the NES. Okay, let's talk about that one real quick, because a lot of the same information applies. You're just in the future now, and you can turn into a boat. I mean, look, you get some neat weapons that go all over the place. They fan out, they shoot the different things on the screen, and that's great. I still don't know what I'm supposed to do other than drive and shoot things. And if that's all it is, great. It does it admirably well, but at the end of the day, it's the same result. After about 5 minutes, I don't want to play this game anymore. That makes it perfectly middle of the road. It is a C. Okay, and last but, well, least is Xenophobe from Sunsoft. Now, I remember wanting to rent this when I was younger, but I think it was because I was dumb and I thought it was Xevious. And man, am I glad I did not rent this when I was a kid, because, oh god, this is rough. The nicest thing I can say about it, I get to be a duck man. That's kind of neat. But the gameplay sucks. It's very much something that was probably conceived for the PC or for the Amiga or something like that, and brought over to the NES and just shoehorned onto a cartridge. And it doesn't work, guys. This is not a fun game. Xenophobe it's not an F because I can at least see the idea here, but for me, from a gameplay perspective alone, it gets a D. All right, there you have it, my friends. Rankings for each and every one of Sunsoft's games released on the NES, barring Freedom Force. As I explained, I do not have a CRT, so I cannot rank it. Although I will say that the character select screen looked mighty good. Some really big hits and misses on this. Sunsoft was kind of a mixed bag on the NES. I liked a lot of their games on the SNES. There were quite a few games here I liked as well, but this is overall kind of a mixed bag, although you can't go wrong when Batman is in your lineup. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with my rankings or if you think I am way off base. And hey, there's a link in that description below for you to fill out your own version of this tier maker ranking. And if you do one of these tier maker rankings of your own, please be sure to tag me on social media. I am at YTSquarePegs pretty much everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that's where you can find me, and I would love to interact with you there. Please hit like, please subscribe down below if you're new around here and have not already done so. And hey, if you really dig the work I do here and want to stick around for the long haul, consider becoming a monthly Patreon sponsor, like the wonderful folks you're seeing on screen right now. Cannot thank them enough for their continued support. Until next time, folks, I've been Jay. I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me today. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.